On June 13, 2026, the World Cup kicked off at BC Place. 7 matches, a global spotlight, a promised economic windfall. But FIFA's exclusive access to the surrounding blocks meant a 16-year-old shop had to close every match day, dealing the shop a huge hit. Hotel workers filed a strike notice over a $45 million booking boom. Tenants braced for displacement. These were not separate anecdotes, but the connected costs of one event model. And Week 1 had barely begun. The transition from abstract host city promotion to street-level disruption began with the activation of FIFA Canada's venue lease. Running from May 14th to July 14th, 2026, as confirmed by British Columbia Sport Minister Anne Kang, the 60-day agreement handed the organization absolute control over BC Place and its surrounding footprint for the 7 scheduled matches. This legal anchor of exclusive access permitted the erection of a securitized zone that effectively severed adjacent commerce from the rest of the downtown core. Directly beside this perimeter, at 796 Beatty Street, sits Aquariums West. The specialty retail store has operated adjacent to Terry Fox Plaza for 16 years, anchoring the local merchant community. Prior to kickoff, the shop's management polled its regular clientele. The results indicated that customers would not attempt to travel through the extensive road closures and security checkpoints required to reach the storefront. Faced with these barriers, co-owner Krieg LeBlanc made the decision to close the business on all 7 match days. LeBlanc documented that the forced closures would deal a huge hit to the store's seasonal revenue. When the business petitioned local government for support, the City of Vancouver refused to provide any rent relief or compensation. City officials confirmed they offered none whatsoever, stating that providing financial aid would set an expensive precedent. This policy stance forced independent merchants to directly subsidize the municipal spectacle through lost business, setting the stage for a week of mounting local friction. A 3-meter-high metal security fence, erected in late May, physically redefined the public space surrounding BC Place courtyard. This barrier enclosed the Terry Fox statues, converting a civic monument and active public gathering space into a locked-down, restricted access zone. The spatial enclosure immediately disrupted daily life for Columbia Academy, a private elementary school with approximately 30 students that relied on the courtyard as an outdoor play area. On match days, administrators had to relocate these elementary students to a high school campus a 15-minute walk away. With 60% of these families living downtown, the displacement became an ongoing logistical hurdle for local parents rather than a minor adjustment. But the reach of this secured perimeter extended far past physical blockades into trademark enforcement. On May 11, 2026, the charity Spinal Cord Injury BC received a 9-page cease and desist letter from Lipkus Law, acting on behalf of FIFA. The letter demanded the immediate cancellation of a raffle featuring 2 donated match tickets, which the nonprofit organized to raise an estimated $2,300. Forced to comply, the charity refunded all participants. Meanwhile, in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood, pet store owner Don Moulton received a formal FIFA trademark warning for selling soccer-themed plush bears wearing miniature jerseys. The warning classified the small-scale merchandise as ambush marketing and forced the business to remove its online listings. These synchronized restrictions proved that the event footprint governed physical movement, educational routines, nonprofit fundraising, and neighborhood commerce alike. 1 block from the Vancouver Convention Center, the economic windfall of the tournament collided directly with the workforce sustaining it. On June 3, 2026, hospitality workers represented by Unite Here, Local 40 issued a formal 72-hour strike notice to the Pan-Pacific Vancouver. The timing was highly strategic, landing exactly 10 days before the opening match at BC Place and positioning a potential work stoppage at the front gates of the city's premier tourist corridor. For hotel management, the summer of 2026 promised unprecedented returns. Internal projections estimated approximately $45 million in pre-bookings, driven by a record-breaking cruise ship season and the incoming wave of international soccer fans. Yet, as booking rates and corporate suites commanded premium prices, negotiations over a new collective bargaining agreement remained stalled. Housekeeping, front-of-house staff, and food service employees demanded a fair contract, exposing the stark contrast between the hotel's projected windfall and their own eroding purchasing power in an increasingly expensive city. The dispute centered on wage adjustments to match the cost of living, with room attendants pushing for a $40 hourly base wage. By leveraging the tournament's tight operational window, these workers made the invisible labor of the host city spectacle impossible to ignore. This clash made clear that while the city and FIFA projected an image of smooth hospitality, the actual costs of the event were being negotiated street by street, block by block, right up to the moment of kickoff. The labor dispute at the Pan Pacific was not an isolated event, but a single flashpoint in an already highly charged provincial bargaining environment. Over the 9 months leading up to the tournament, 5 new Metro Vancouver hotels unionized under Unite Here. Local 40, including the Georgian Court and the Vancouver Airport Marriott. This mobilization established a clear precedent for high-stakes negotiations. In December 2025, workers at the Hyatt Alberni secured a contract raising wages to nearly $40 an hour by 2028. Meanwhile, employees at the Coast Victoria Hotel and Marina demonstrated the lengths to which hospitality workers were prepared to go, enduring a 77-day strike to secure wage increases of up to 21%. This friction extended far beyond hotel lobbies. As the opening match approached, British Columbia experienced a systemic wave of labor unrest. British Columbia 911 call center staff initiated work-to-rule campaigns, and transit operators across Metro Vancouver and Victoria staged a limited service stoppage on June 5, 2026. 2 days later, SPCA welfare workers issued a strike notice, while over 700 municipal outside workers authorized job action that threatened to disrupt essential maintenance. The World Cup arrived in a province where organized workers were actively fighting back against eroding purchasing power. The international spectacle did not create this labor friction. It simply handed workers their most powerful point of leverage. Housing market distortions began manifesting across North America well before the first match kicked off. According to a report by the housing advocacy group Staystra, a tenant campaign called Rent Strike 2026 has mobilized in host cities like Kansas City and New York to protest soaring rental costs. This organizing is driven by extreme price signals. In some host neighborhoods, verified Airbnb nightly rates have topped $6,000. Unverified social media posts claim some weekend listings reached as high as $40,000, a figure that remains unconfirmed but reflects the deep anxiety of local residents. Organizers warn that because stadiums often sit in lower-income areas, longtime residents face the immediate threat of being priced out of their own streets before formal eviction statistics even register. Before the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, the advocacy group Terre des Hommes estimated that 170,000 people were forced from their homes to clear space for infrastructure. Vancouver's opening week acts as a live trial of whether host cities can protect their own communities from this event model. The shuttered storefronts, the stalled hotel contracts, and the short-term rental spikes are all connected elements of a single accountability story. This pattern of public disruption yielding private gain demands structural policy changes. Full transparency for FIFA government contracts, commercial protections for local schools and small businesses, charity carve-outs from aggressive trademark enforcement, and labor protections tied directly to tournament revenues. Ultimately, the local legacy rests on who was asked to pay for the spectacle. Vancouver's extraction is not a temporary glitch. It is the structural blueprint for modern mega events. When public authority is surrendered for global prestige, local communities always absorb the cost. The question moving forward is not who wins the tournament, but who pays for the spectacle. Share your thoughts below.